Ladies and gentlemen, good day everyone, and welcome to Vipshop Holdings Limited's first quarter 2022 earnings conference call. At this time, I would like to turn the call to Ms. Jessie Jung, Vipshop's Head of Investor Relations. Please proceed.
Thank you, operator. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Vipshop's first quarter 2022 earnings conference call. With us today are Eric Shen, our co-founder, chairman, and CEO, and David Cui, our CFO. Before management begins their prepared remarks, I would like to remind you that the discussion today will contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Potential risks and uncertainties include, but are not limited to, those outlined in our Safe Harbor statements in our earnings release and public filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which also applies to this call to the extent any forward-looking statements may be made. Please note that certain financial measures used on this call, such as non-GAAP operating income, non-GAAP net income, and non-GAAP net income per ADS, are not presented in accordance with U.S. GAAP. Please refer to our earnings release for details relating to the reconciliations of our non-GAAP measures to GAAP measures. With that, I would now like to turn the call over to Mr. Eric Shen.
Okay. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining our first quarter 2022 earnings conference call. We had a slower than expected quarter due to the resurgence of COVID-19 cases in China, on top of a already challenging macro environment, which deepened the general customer sentiment. Starting in March, with tightened controls and city lockdowns in many places, our warehousing and logistic capacity has been undergoing serious delays or disruptions. This had undermined our fulfillment efficiency and further discouraged consumers from spending, especially on discretionary items. Despite great pressure on sales and consumption, we remain on track to execute on our merchandising strategy to further strengthen our competitiveness for the long term. We are delighted to see that our proven business model enabled us to sustain a healthy level of profits and achieve the resilient margins through disciplined operations. In the first quarter, we continued to provide support for co-brands, offering them more leverage to improve sales through our upgrade merchant platform. We also brought in many new and trendy brands, enriching product selection on our platform. Furthermore, we expanded our high-value customers. Our active Super VIP customer grew by 37% year-over-year and contributed about 38% of online net GMV in the first quarter. With the COVID-19 outbreak developing, we have responded quickly to changing consumer demands. By leveraging our merchandising capabilities, we added a range of product offerings in non-apparel categories, including products for everyday use. This helped in part offset the soft demand in apparel categories. While we remain cautious ahead amid ongoing COVID-19 flare-ups, we are strongly committed to our strategic position as a discount platform for branded products. We will take this opportunity to look to create exceptional value for our brand partners and the consumers. At this point, let me hand over the call to our CFO, David Cui, who will go over our financial results.
Thanks, Eric. and hello everyone. In the first quarter, despite soft top-line performance due to macro headwinds, our margins held up relatively well, thanks to our initiatives to manage costs and expenses with greater discipline. Our gross margin showed resilience after we implemented a number of cost-saving measures. For example, we were able to effectively improve the margin profile of many product categories after we became more focused on shifting traffic and resources to core brands, while deprioritizing low-quality brands. Our non-GAAP net margin also stayed well above 5% as we became more efficient in marketing spend. Looking ahead, we will continue to optimize operational efficiency and make every effort to deliver healthy and sustainable profitability. In addition, during the quarter, we had fully utilized the $500 million share buyback program that we announced last year. On March 31st this year, we announced another $1 billion share buyback program, which we may execute from time to time over a period of 24 months. This demonstrates our confidence in our business potential and our commitment to creating shareholder value for the long term. Now, moving to our detailed quarterly financial highlights. Before I get started, I would like to clarify that all financial numbers presented below are in renminbi, and all the percentage changes are year-over-year changes, unless otherwise noted. Total net revenues for the first quarter of 2022 were 24.2 billion RMB, as compared with 28.4 billion RMB in the prior year period, primarily attributable to soft consumer demand for discretionary categories and adverse impact on warehousing and logistics networks caused by COVID-19 resurgence in China. Gross profit was 5.0 billion RMB as compared with 5.6 billion RMB in the prior year period. Gross margin increased to 19.8% from 19.7% in the prior year period. Total operating expenses decreased by 11.0% year-over-year to 3.9 billion RMB from 4.4 billion RMB in the prior year period. As a percentage of the total net revenues, total operating expenses was 15.4%, which stayed flat as compared with the corresponding period in 2021. Fulfillment expenses decreased by 5.5% year-over-year to 1.7 billion RMB from 1.8 billion RMB in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, fulfillment expenses was 6.7% as compared with 6.3% in the prior year period. Marketing expenses decreased by 41.3% year-over-year to 759.3 million RMB from 1.3 billion RMB in the prior year period, primarily attributable to more prudent marketing strategy. As a percentage of the total net revenues, marketing expenses decreased to 3.0% from 4.6% in the prior year period. Technology and content expenses increased to 390.4 million RMB from 337.5 million RMB in the prior year period. As a percentage of the total net revenues, technology and content expenses increased to 1.5% from 1.2% in the prior year period. General and administrative expenses were 1.1 billion RMB as compared with 956.7 million RMB in the prior year period. As a percentage of the total net revenues, general and administrative expenses was 4.2% as compared with 3.4% in the prior year period. Income from operations was 1.3 billion RMB as compared with 1.5 billion RMB in the prior year period. Operating margin was 5.1% as compared with 5.3% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP income from operations was 1.5 billion RMB as compared with 1.7 billion RMB in the prior year period. Non-GAAP operating margin was 6.0% as compared with 6.1% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to Vipshop shareholders was 1.1 billion RMB as compared with 1.5 billion RMB in the prior year period. Net margin attributable to Vipshop shareholders was 4.3% as compared with 5.4% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to Vipshop shareholders per diluted ADS was 1.61 RMB as compared with 2.18 RMB in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to Vipshop shareholders was 1.4 billion RMB as compared with 1.7 billion RMB in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net margin attributable to Vipshop shareholders was 5.6% as compared with 6.0% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to Vipshop shareholders per diluted ADS was 2.09 RMB as compared with 2.41 RMB in the prior year period. As of March 31st, 2022, the company had cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash of 14.3 billion RMB and short-term investments of 5.0 billion RMB. Looking forward to the second quarter of 2022, we expected our total net revenue to be between 22.2 billion RMB and 23.7 billion RMB, representing a year-over-year decrease rate of approximately 25% to 20%. Please note that this forecast reflects our current and preliminary view of the market and operational conditions, which is subject to change. With that, I would now like to open the call to Q&A.
Thank you. To ask a question, you will need to press star one on your telephone. To withdraw your question, press the pound key. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. Our first question from Thomas Chong with Jefferies. Your line is open.
Hi, good evening. Thanks management for taking my questions. My first question is about the second quarter guidance. Can management comment about the impact of pandemic to our business performance in April and so far in the month of May? And my second question is about the second half business momentum. Can management comment about the recovery momentum that we should expect, as well as the margin outlook for the year? 晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我的第一个问题是关于我们 Q2 的收入的指引的。管理层可不可以分享一下，在疫情底下呢，我们在4月份 还有现在5月份我们收入的情况同比是一个什么的情况？然后第二个问题是关于我们下半年的一个展望的。想问一下，就是我们应该怎么看这个 recovery 这个回暖的一个速度，还有就是我们全年的一个margin 的一个情况呢？谢谢。
我回答那个第一个问题、第二个问题啊，就是我们其实在3月份的时候，大概3月10几号吧，其实看到因为疫情的中国的迅速扩散，那么我们其实生意出现了蛮大的变化，原来都比较正常的，在3月10几号出现了很大变化。那么包括其实有2种吧，一种呢就是说是因为疫情导致整个供应链出问题，仓库被关了，那么快递受阻等等那个包括那个品牌发不出货等等，那么大量顾客取消订单等等，那么这是对我们是一个影响。那么这种情况其实一直延续到4月、5月那么包括现在我们其实手里还有超过100万的订单，其实还没发出去，因为比如说有上海的问题那个供应链很多仓库还是锁在那里的问题，有的等于顾客下了订单还没有履约，那么所以说其实目前的情况是这样。那么我们其实预估大概在未来的比如说在5月份、6月份，其实我们认为还应该会差不多。那么其中我认为其实疫情，因为我们知道中国也不会这么快马上结束，或者哪些地方搞定了，因为我看最近北京又出现问题，比如说我们在北京应该有大概多少的订单又不能履约，因为那个北京在封控，在部分在封控。那么包括我们也看到其实消费者的信心在3月疫情爆发后其实大受折扣，我们也看到统计局的数字，包括那个就服装类的那个整体的销售会跌得很厉害。所以说我们讲的未来5、6月份我们不看好，但是在下半年我们其实觉得也不会太乐观吧，就是我们认为，但是呢比现在更差我估计不至于但是有可能会好，但是呢也不会好到哪儿去，所以说我们这是对未来的预估。那么另外我们公司其实对利润方面呢，我们其实还是有把握的，因为我们认为现在虽然生意差了一些，那么但是因为我们自己公司本身利润比较稳健，那加上呢我们讲的疫情期间我们也控制了一些没必要的投放，那么我们其实认为我们自己公司在今年假设半年或者未来的1年的其实利润还是有把握的。
Okay. The guidance for the second quarter actually reflects our current look for the uncertainties from the ongoing and potential restrictions to control the COVID outbreak, as well as the general weak consumer sentiment. Our business has actually been quite normal until in the middle of March, when the Omicron outbreak had significantly impacted our business. Our warehousing and logistics capacity was disrupted or delayed, and the whole supply chain faced a lot of problems. Some of our warehouses were closed down, and logistics got delayed, and also suppliers that also had restraints in terms of shipping and handling our parcels. Entering into April, and until now May, we actually have been facing continued pressure. I think till today we still have over 1 million orders that cannot be delivered because of various reasons, including suppliers were based actually in restricted regions, and that actually undermined the fulfillment efficiency. So we expect for May and June, we haven't seen clear signs of a recovery, and we actually don't expect that the COVID impact will disappear very soon. especially we have seen other places like Beijing faced restrictions or controls, and also consumer sentiment, consumer confidence has not come back. And we've also seen that the latest NBS data point to a very sluggish performance for discretionary items, including apparel. So generally speaking, we don't feel very optimistic for the momentum for the second half, but we don't expect it will be significantly worse as well. On the margin side, I think we are pretty confident in maintaining a healthy level of profits and margins while we face a lot of challenges and uncertainties. We also maintain a very high level of discipline in our operations. We manage our costs and expenses much more carefully. We scaled back a lot of low ROI spending. So we are pretty confident that we will deliver healthy and sustainable profitability for this year.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Alicia Yap with Citigroup. Your line is open.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my questions. I have a question related to the expansion into the non-apparel products. So can management elaborate a little bit more detail the various kinds of the products on this category? And can you remind us, is this a strategic change or the strategic business model shift, or it is just a temporary approach so that we can navigate through the soft demand for the apparel business? And then second question is any colors in terms of what are some of the current inventory level for the apparel brand? Can we get any kind of like leverage, or is it just because consumption is so weak, so even though there's a lot of inventory, we can do some promotion discount, but there's still lack of the demand? So any color you can share would be good. 我自己翻译一下吧，沈总，就是第一个问题就是这个，就是非服饰类的这个品类能够大概说一下是哪几种品类？然后这个是一个长远的一个调整吗？还是说只是一个短期就是因为疫情的这个影响是一个短期的，让我们过渡这个短期的冲击哈。然后第二个问题就是服饰的这个库存不知道说现在因为我们之前可能听说很多品牌都有剩好多的春装的库存，然后可能夏装都不生产了哈，所以不知道说从这边有没有一些机会就算有的话，是不是现在这个消费很疲软，所以就算我们拿到一些好的库存，但可能也没有什么这个意愿，或者是就是从消费端这个意愿也很低所以看看管理层可以帮我们分享一下，谢谢。
那个就是标品类，我们是比如说我们原来因为我们是做穿戴为主一般的话我们的标品大概占我们3成，那么穿戴类会占我们7成那么我们其实就是在那个最近的过程中，我们发现其实我们的消费者有比较强的标品的购物需求，可能呢我们在这块如果做得不好的话呢，那个消费者其实会衣服在我们这儿买，标品在别的地方买，所以说我们其实做了一些改进，就是说我们希望把我们的标品做得更有特色，更有性价比， 那么我们不需要太多的 SKU， 但是呢我们在常用的这些 SKU 都要有特色。那么所以说这是我们现在的标品策略。另外呢，我们其实标品的话呢，包括尤其是夏天，包括那个夏天的时候呢，其实用户对标品的需求会增加。所以说我们其实这是我们整个公司的策略，希望我们标品能做得更强一些，能满足消费者的需求。另外呢，适应这些季节性的需求。那么另外呢，尤其在疫情期间又是另外一码事，就是我们其实看消费者对生活日用品还是增加的。所以说我们其实在疫情期间，我们因为已经有做了一些准备，那么我们继续做一些准备，支持消费者。他可能疫情期间不会买这么多衣服，但是呢他生活日用品我们还是能补上的。所以说我们其实对整个穿戴类我们是一个长期的策略，那么希望是提高它的比例。另外呢，其实主要是提高用户的 UP。那么这是我们在标品那边的回答。那么刚刚你问的第二个问题就是关于货品的库存增加。那么因为我们确实看到，因为疫情的原因，其实很多品牌确实遭受到蛮大的打击，包括线下门店的关闭，那么包括消费的低迷。其实呢，对我们而言呢，会有更多的货品供给。那么但是呢有些还不行啊，比如说在上海的供应商现在急着要开仓库发货，但是仓库还没解封等等啊。那么所以说我们其实希望是对我们而言呢，我们尽可能的完成这种需求，那么尽可能的拿更多好的货品。那么我们因为现在对商家而言，可能他们不要求说要卖到多少，就是说希望能快速出清。那么我们其实也在配合他们做些准备。虽然说那个市场低迷嘛，但是呢我们说的就是说低迷没有低迷到这么惨的程度。所以说理论上如果有货品供给那么多的话，其实对我们还是有些帮助的。
Okay, first on standardized products. I think as a company we still focus on apparel categories. Currently we still have 70% GMV from apparel, and the rest 30% are from standardized products. Standardized products are a very good complement to our overall platform. They can help us to cater to a diverse range of customer needs, which actually vary depending on season and a lot of other factors. For example, in summer, typically customers would like to buy a lot of standardized products in addition to summer clothing. And also we approach standardized products very carefully. For example, we want to make sure we have the unique supply from top brands and with very competitive pricing. We try to meet customer needs, especially when they shop for clothing, they will have something else to choose from, to provide them with a one-stop shopping experience. So this is our overall strategy on standardized products. And given the COVID-19 outbreak, I think we proactively added some non-apparel product offerings, especially including products for everyday use to meet customer needs. This is in line with our overall strategy to set on standardized products. We will gradually improve the contribution from these standardized products to improve the overall customer experience on our platform, and also to improve their overall ARPU. And on brand inventory, right? And on brand inventory, apparently a lot of our brand partners are very hard hit by the COVID flare-ups. They faced a lot of store disclosures, and they have a lot of supply. But generally speaking, I think we have the ability to secure a lot of quality inventory from brands and help them to sell through these inventories very efficiently. But at the same time, some of the brand partners are also facing continued pressure, especially when they are based in restricted regions, including Shanghai. So this is a positive. Is a positive to our online business. I think although generally speaking the market is in a downturn, but it's not that bad. As long as we can help brands to sell through their inventory, I think we will be providing a valuable proposition for them.
Can I have a quick follow-up on the margins for the standardized product, given the mix? How should we think about the total gross margin trends, going forward or in the near term?
Okay. For the standardized items, we carefully choose what product we will carry. Generally, we will not accept the product that's with very low margin. So overall, the impact of the margin is not that bad. And also the apparel product still represents 70% of our total carrying. So we are committed to the overall gross margin stability.
Okay, thank you.
Our next question comes from Ronald Keung with Goldman Sachs. Your line is open.
Thank you, 沈总 David， 还有 IR team。那让我先问，然后我翻译成英语。就第一想问一下，我们这个2季度的 guidance 里边，看到20到25的下降，这个是不是我们看到4月的 run rate， 还有就我们其实对5月还有进入6月，我们有每年的616嘛，那我们是在这个 guidance factor in 是一个 April 的 run rate， 还是有假设有所一个恢复，然后在最近4月我们会不会看到什么这个取消率是不是会比平常高？然后第二个想问我们的这个 cash flow 的情况，因为看到过去12个月我们的 free cash flow 这个自由现金流是有下降的，所以想听一下这个里边的一些因素。然后对于我们buyback 看到也做得非常好，那想知道我们对 dividend 的这个 policy 有没有在新的一些思考，然后在香港潜在的上市有没有这样的计划？那我再翻译一下。Thank you, management. My first question is on your second quarter revenue guidance, whether that assumes a similar growth rate for May and June of what we've seen in the April run rates, and some expectations on our June 16th for us. Any expectations on that? We're assuming some of the stronger growth better into the month of June, and some of the cancellation rates that we're seeing. Second is on free cash flow. We've seen a reduction of that, so I want to hear what were the reasons behind, and besides the buyback program that we've enlarged, I want to hear any dividend policies, that any updates on any of those, any potential, and also for Hong Kong listing. Thank you.
好，第一个问题我回答一下，就是关于我们对2季度的指引，比如说我们其实应该也预测到，其实我们说的5月份，那么比如说我们现在已经过去20多天了嘛，那么其实差不多跟我们4月份的跌幅或者跟5月份其实差不多。那么另外呢，包括我们其实也预见6月份的生意应该也跟5月份差不多，因为包括电商虽然有大促，因为去年也是有大促，但是同比那个同比也是会下降的。那么尤其是疫情加上那个经济疲软的，就消费疲软的双重因素吧，所以我们认为说 Q2 的指引，那么应该是反映了比较客观的实际情况。那么第二点是问那个关于订单取消率啊，确实是因为我们其实 最近那个从3月10几号开始到现在，每天有大量的订单，因为生成了以后后面被取消，因为用户等几天，发现这个货怎么没过来啊，等等等等，那么其实会取消。我们看了，我们其实这里的对我们的损失巨大，我们看到我们的订单取消率啊，那么其实比原来涨了6个点。那么这样的话呢，因为是疫情期，确实没有办法，那么所以说我们讲的，我们忍受了也巨大的损失，而且呢，对客户来讲，他想买东西，结果发现买不了，那么其实包括长期下去，对我们其实整个我们讲的整个电商这个氛围，其实也是有造成巨大的影响，所以我们也是希望这方面疫情的原因能早早过去。
Okay. The second quarter guidance actually already factored in the April and May run rate. I think it's the latter half of May, and from our observation, we have had similar, a downside trend as we saw in April, and we expect June will continue this momentum. For sure, it's going to be down on a year-over-year basis, and coupled with COVID-19 cases with related restrictions and controls are still going on, and consumption sentiment has not come back yet. So that's pretty the reality for this quarter to date. So our second quarter guidance is just a reflection of that reality. In terms of cancellation rate, absolutely. Actually, from the middle of March, we've seen cancellation of orders or have been going up due to logistics delayed, and cancellation rate actually went up 6 percentage points year over year, and it has caused very significant losses to us. And with the increasing cancellation of orders from customers, it actually has dampened the general sentiment to the e-commerce sector. I think we for sure hope that with the restrictions gradually lifted, we expect cancellation rate to normalize over time.
Well, we have been profitable for consequent over like 38 quarters, so we are confident that we will continue to making profit even though we encounter a difficult time and softer business. So in general, the free cash flow should mirror our profitability. In Q1, our operating cash flow turned negative because we made a lot of payments to suppliers and for other miscellaneous expenses. So the decrease in accrued expenses and accounts payable is the main reason for the negative cash flow. In the long run, the cash flow should mirror our profitability. And in terms of the Hong Kong listing, so that is still in our radar. Our board and the management team are still evaluating the options, and we still got some time to execute the plan and execute the Hong Kong listing plan.
Right. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Dave.
Sorry, Donna. The dividends. So we currently don't have a plan to pay out the dividends, but we're committed to our share buyback program.
Understood. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Natalie Wu with Haitong International. Your line is open.
晚上好，管理层，谢谢接受我的提问。我现在就问一下啊，就刚刚咱们提到的这个熊总您刚提到的，咱们要增加标品的这个比例，这个标品具体是指的是哪些品类？和这个19年之前咱们也扩大过一次品类，转向更多标品，这次这个标品品类的这么一个比例增加里头，这个标品和上次是不是有区别？然后如果我们转向更多的一个标品的一个销售的话，那和其他的电商平台相比起来的话，那咱们会在这个消费者面前打算如何区分我们自己呢？那我简单翻译一下。Good evening, management. Thanks for taking my question. So my question is regarded with the product mix shift. Since you mentioned that you decided to shift the product mix towards the standardized goods in the coming future. So just wondering, can you give us more colors on exactly which categories of the standardized products you are referring to? Because back in 2018 and 19, you've also tried some category expansion. So just wondering if there's a difference compared with last round of standardized product shift. Also, how should we differentiate ourselves from other general e-commerce platforms if we shift the way to standardized products? Thank you.
我们其实像标品，比如说是像这种美妆啊、居家用品啊、厨房用品啊，包括生活超市啊，包括精品等等啊，比如说保健品啊等等。我们意思是说，我们公司的标品跟非标品的，其实就是标品相对是没有尺码的，这些我们就认为那叫标品。那么我们其实像这种品类呢，其实跟我们原来的说要做的品类基本差不多，我们也没有说特别要在哪一些品类上一定要冲上去。那么但是呢，我们是有个均衡的发展。那么我们的假设的目标，比如说因为我们认为像目前我们的标品做的如何更有特色，包括尤其是也是极致的性价比，另外呢非常好的质量、好的品牌、极致性价比，也不排除有品牌给我们专供和定制。我们希望是我们不想用很多的 SKU， 就是用一些非常特别的商品做出我们的特色、极致性价比。那么这样的话呢，我们来吸引我们的用户，而且呢，他们认为，比如说在唯品会买这类的标品，其实也是物超所值的，因为唯品会已经帮他们精选过了，所以说我们是这个理念啊。那么我们自己呢想，因为我们的主力生意还是穿戴嘛，穿戴是最有特色的，但是我们希望标品上面，比如说我们认为说未来有可能我们经过我们的努力，比如说我们现在的标品占比是30%。我们希望比如说能提升10%，占比到33%，因为我们自己认为标品对整个的毛利也没有什么影响，而且呢对提升用户的 UP 是还有蛮大的帮助，所以说我们总体是这么一个思路。
In terms of a strategy on standardized products, actually all the categories are already on our platform, including beauty products, home goods, kitchenware, life and grocery, and healthcare products, etc. These non-size products are standardized items we are looking at. We will manage the product offerings very carefully in each category, not necessarily as many as SKUs as you see on other platforms. We want to make sure that we can have very quality supply from brands, and sometimes it may be unique supply from the top brands, and it has to be to provide a very competitive pricing and a very reasonable gross margin. So we will approach standardized items very carefully. Currently, we have 30% from standardized items. Our goal is to gradually improve the contribution to, let's say, 33% over time, an increase of 10% on the current basis. And standardized items are not going to be a drag on the overall gross margin, and it actually improves ARPU from customers. So over the time, we think we will have a more balanced customer experience for our platform.
Got it. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Robin Leung with Daiwa. Your line is open.
Hi, this is Robin asking on behalf of John Choi. Thanks, management, for taking my questions. This quarter, the gross margin is slightly higher than our expectation. Is it because of the change in the category mix? And because I remember the SVIPs, the members, they carry a lower margins, but the mix this quarter is also higher. So wonder what is the reason that this quarter we see a more better than expected gross margin, and also the trend in the second half, if the SVIP continues to increase the mix, are we going to see any impact on the gross margin? And the second question is, could management comment on the user growth trend in the second half? 谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我想问一下，这个 gross margin 呢，这个 quarter 呢，比我们想象的好了一点点。想问是不是因为这个change 在这个 category mix， 还有这个 SVIP 呢，我们就通常他们是有一个比较低的 gross margin 的，但这个 quarter 虽然他们的占比增加了，但是都看不到有什么的 impact。之后呢，我们会不会在 gross margin 有一些影响呢？然后第二就是管理层可以给我们一些 color 在一个 user growth trend 在 second half 啊，谢谢。
Okay, so this year we have taken many cost-saving measures to improve our margin. That includes the selection of the products and the brands carried on our platforms. For example, we were able to improve the margin profile of many categories, after we shift our resources to the core brands that we selected and deprioritize some of the non-core brands. So that helps improve our margin. For the coming quarters, we will continue to be disciplined and make sure that we have a healthy margin and eventually achieve a healthy bottom line net margin. And on the category mix, the apparels are still representing 70% of our total GMV, right? And then supplemented by the standardized products. But as we talked about it earlier, for the standardized products, we also carefully choose what to carry to make sure that our overall gross margin will remain stable, and potentially we could improve the gross margin also. In terms of the impact of the Super VIP, and we know the Super VIP has slightly lower gross margin because of the benefits and we provided to the group. But since they spent much more, and then their frequencies, their ARPU are much higher. So overall, it's just a matter of time when they can contributed positively to the overall gross margin. So it's kind of a balance, but in summary, we are committed to the overall improvements of the gross margin. And
第二个问题是问一下
下半年的用户增长。
用户增长，我们现在的用户增长其实跟那个业绩啊还是蛮相关联的啊，因为我们的现在 UP 持续稳定，所以我们讲的就那个今年下半年的业绩增长，我们还是比较那个用户增长还是比较稳健。那么我们其实想的就是说不用乱花钱，或者说有些成本太高的获客或者拉老客，我们觉得没必要。那么我们自己算好我们的 LTV， 那么如果 LTV 合适，我们还是积极去获客；如果 LTV 不合适，我们就少获客。那么总体我们认为，那个下半年的用户跟业绩相对差不多，那么不会有大的起起伏伏。
In terms of a customer growth for the second half, I think our customer growth has been relatively in line with our overall business performance. And given that our ARPU has actually been quite not stable over time. But we will evaluate our marketing spend from time to time, especially given the many uncertainties going on. We are apparently facing a much less favorable customer acquisition environment. So instead of just throwing money away, we will focus on acquiring high quality customers. We don't want to invest too much on low ROI, customers, and we will evaluate their lifetime value very carefully to ensure that they will be a valuable customer to our platform. So we are committed to customer growth, and we believe that for the quarters ahead, we will maintain a relatively stable customer base.
Thank you.
Due to time constraints, that concludes today's question and answer session. At this time, I will turn the conference back to Jessie for any closing remarks.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today. If you have any questions or follow-ups, please don't hesitate to contact our team. We look forward to speaking with you next quarter.
This concludes today's conference call. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.